You map out a strict 10-day study strategy. For the first 48 hours, you're locked in. But then a notification pings. You check your phone, and within a week, that entire structure has completely collapsed. This happens because your biology is indifferent to your career goals. It is optimized to find immediate sensory pleasure and avoid pain. Right now, your phone offers a low-friction dopamine hit, while your textbook represents a high-friction source of mental strain. Most people look at this collapse and assume the problem is a lack of discipline or simple laziness. But the brain is actually performing a very logical calculation. It is protecting your energy reserves from an activity that feels like a losing trade. When you struggle to stick to a timetable, it's rarely a failure of willpower. It's your brain's defense mechanism flagging a goal that hasn't been properly justified to your biology. To see this calculation in action, imagine your grandfather left you a map to a treasure worth millions of dollars, buried precisely under your house. You would dig through that dirt for 30 days straight. You wouldn't need a motivational coach or a screen time app to keep you focused, because the outcome is certain. This chart compares the two efforts. The treasure hunt is a 100% probability of success. A competitive exam, however, often carries a statistical probability of 1% or less. When your subconscious detects that the odds of a reward are this low, it shuts down the high-intensity energy required for deep focus. Your brain is constantly weighing this high-risk gamble against the guaranteed immediate return of a sensory distraction. Preparing for an exam requires you to endure massive cognitive pain for an outcome that, mathematically, is unlikely to happen. Your brain rejects the task because it refuses to commit its maximum resources to a goal with a 99% chance of failure. Since you cannot alter your evolutionary biology, you have to change the math of the goal itself. The standard objective for most students is, I must crack this exam. This goal is fragile because its success is entirely dependent on the performance of millions of other people. You can work harder than anyone else and still fail because you have no control over the competitive pool. To reclaim control, you have to move your focus from this external result to an internal identity, shifting from exam taker to expert. Tying your self-worth to a variable you don't control is what creates the anxiety that leads to burnout. The new objective isn't to pass a mathematics test, it is to become a master mathematician. This involves moving beyond the syllabus. You read biographies of great thinkers, study the history of the concepts, to find beauty in the work. By making the subject itself interesting, you change the internal calculation. This flowchart shows how the mental effort stops being the source of pain and becomes intrinsically rewarding. Once the process of learning provides its own reward, you no longer have to fight yourself to stay at your desk. In this state, a quick break on your phone is just a functional rest stop for a brain that needs a moment to recharge before returning to a subject it enjoys. Discipline becomes a byproduct of redesigning your identity so that the work is the very thing your brain wants to do. If you apply this framework for 2 years, the final result becomes a win-win scenario. Path A is the standard success story. You crack the exam and secure the position. But if Path B happens and you fail, you're still a highly skilled expert. This mastery opens new paths average exam takers can't access. You have effectively moved the probability of a successful life from a 1% gamble to a 100% guarantee. Real success doesn't come from winning a high-stakes lottery. It comes from mastering your craft to the point where the world cannot ignore you, regardless of what a test score says.